So you want to know how to start your home buying process. You want to know which house you should choose, your budget, things like that. So we will be talking about our home buying process in this video, so stay tuned.
We are super into our finances. We're trying to build wealth. We're trying to build for our futures that we don't have to work forever. And we decided we wanted a house. We live together. Why not just start to invest early? So the biggest question was, should one of us buy and we just move in together? So, you know, if anything happens, it's easy peasy. Or should we buy together? Ultimately, we decided to buy together just because we saw the future being very bright. And look at us now.
But we purchased our home in November of 2017, so a year and a half ago. And it was an exciting process, to say the least. I think every other day I say I miss the process because it was fun. It was another way to bond. Like, it really was an enjoyable experience for us for the most part.
And so where did we buy our house? You guys know now that we met in Morgan State. We've been living in Baltimore for a while. So we bought our house in Baltimore. It's like our roots at this point. She's from Jersey. I'm from DC. It's like a middle ground for our families if we ever need to travel to them or they need to come to us. And we're close to the airport for her family out of the country. So very, very easy.
Yeah, so, also forgot to add, so with Baltimore, you have Baltimore County and Baltimore City. So we do live in the county. Most places, it's easier to just say Baltimore because if we named a random city or town, people are like, okay, so is that Baltimore? Like, people that's not from here just automatically think that Baltimore, it's either Baltimore or DC. So yeah.
She wanted to live in Owings Mills, and it's a really good area. So I agreed, and that's where we started looking. We didn't have to worry about school districts. We don't have kids. We worried about crime. You know, we worried about how easy and accessible it was to the highway because our families do live far, and I go see my family like every weekend. So that was important. And then like how close we are to fun things. And then like grocery stores and stuff, like that stuff starts to matter when you get a certain age. I'm not trying to drive 20 minutes to go get a peach.
You know how they say about us millennials, convenience, convenience.
Exactly. So now we'll get into like some informational, educational topics just to make sure that you're well informed when you're buying a house, because it's easy to say I want a house, go get a loan and go move in. But I will plug down below the realtor that we used. So there are like 5 million realtors. Everybody's keen on like the fast, easy process. But we went with someone called Tressa. Who is Tressa? My mother. Why did we choose her? Not because she's my mother, but because she has 20 years of experience in real estate. She knows us, but she also knows areas in depth, and she is about sound investments, not just making her money. Most realtors care about their commission, and that's it. She cared about us having a house that when we wanted to sell or rent out, we would be able to generate great income from. So, main loan types that I know and let you know the pros and cons that I think about them. So the type of loan that we have is a fixed rate loan. I won't tell you our rate, but just know it is very, very far below the national average for interest rate, which is why we chose this loan. But you can go with an FHA loan, which is a government-backed loan. That is probably one of the more common loans because you can have, it's like lower qualifications for your credit score, also lower down payments, like 3.5%, whereas, you know, usually you're upwards of 20%. And then they do have some qualifications for that loan though. It has to be your primary residence and it has to be owner occupied. So if you want to rent this out or buy it and then sell it, no, that needs to be your home, your primary residence, not a vacation home, nothing like that. Then you have your VA loans. Really, really good for our military personnel. Everyone in the U.S. that's been in the military and their families, it helps you out. It has, again, low down payment, lower interest rates, and it doesn't come with PMI, which is your mortgage insurance. That can be upwards of, depending on the amount that you buy your house for, like $150 every month in your mortgage. So that is a huge savings right there. I would suggest that all military personnel at least check it out and compare it to your conventional loans. Then you have your adjustable rate loan, which is usually referred to as the ARM loan. And that's just based on the market, your rate fluctuates. For me, that is a little worrisome because if the market is going crazy like 2009, possibly we're coming up on another crisis again, your rate could go high, it could double, triple, or whatever. And if you do not have the additional, you are very much so in risk for losing your home. So not the best for me because I like to plan out and budget very strictly. So that wasn't something that we considered, but it is beneficial if, you know, the market is doing great, interest rates start to decrease, so will yours, so your mortgage payment will adjust that way as well. And then finally, the fixed rate mortgage, which is what we did, is just you sign that rate, you say, I got 3% rate, that is your rate for your 15, 20, 30-year mortgage. That's it. So it's a little easier for planning and budget. Compared to the ARM loan, you might pay a little more interest, but again, you can always pay down faster, just like with the car loan or something. So that's how we chose our rate. It's extremely good. People say, man, you guys must be paying pennies. I appreciate my pennies because my loan is so cheap.
So we went with NACA, and basically with NACA, you start, it's not just for first-time homeowners, you just can't currently be owning a home. So they have them, I believe, is it all 50 states?
I don't know.
Or majority, but they have them a lot of places. So with NACA, you start with your seminar. It's usually one day, about 4 hours. From then you get scheduled with your counselor who you will be working with the whole time you're going through your process. Once you go through your first meeting, you know, you're going through, of course, all the paperwork, what you know, everything that you need, all that important stuff. Once you get to that first trial of underwriting, you get approved. Once you're approved, then you can start looking for a house. Once you find the house that you're looking for, then you have to go through another set of underwriting with the actual bank. And once they approve you, you get your closing date scheduled. And that's just basically an accelerated like synopsis of how the process goes with NACA.
Pretty much. Basically, the interest rates are lower than the national average, so that saves you money across the lifespan of your loan. Plus, there's no credit score requirement, which most loans do have. Credit wasn't an issue for us, but it's just a plus when you're looking into a loan that you don't have to say, hey, I have to have a 750 to even meet this requirement, but they work with you to make sure that you are ready for the home buying process and you're not just jumping in and you might sink. So that's the biggest benefit of the NACA program to me. Something very important when buying a home is how is your mortgage actually calculated. This is going to be the most determining factor of your affordability and something that you really need to understand how it works. So the mortgage is PTI, principal, taxes and insurance / interest. We'll just double that up together. Your principal is the principal payment that will decrease the loan owed. So if you buy a $200,000 house for 15 years, how many payments you need for 15 years to total up to that $200,000 is going to be the principal. Your interest is if your rate is 3%, compounding year over year, how much will you be paying additional for the cost of that loan to the bank because they loaned you out that money. Now you have to pay them back with interest because the cost of a dollar changes over time. our parents always say, oh, back in the day, I can get this with $1. Yeah, right. A house was $20,000 and I was good. Not anymore. So think about your interest as well. And then taxes is going to depend on the state, the city, the locality. It goes based on the house as well. So some houses in some localities have higher interest, higher taxes, and that needs to be figured into your mortgage as well. So let's just say the taxes a year is $3,600. That's like $300 a month into your mortgage, I think. I'm bad at math. I don't know. But yeah, so you have to think, if I'm trying to pay $2,000 a month, let me reduce the amount that I can afford because I have to pay $300 per month in taxes, which is included in your mortgage. But you think of it, hey, that is an additional cost that lowers your affordability of the house itself. And then your insurance is that mortgage insurance is somewhere around $150 usually on a moderately priced home. And that is just protecting the loan officer for if you do go into foreclosure or default. That is also going to lower your affordability, so to speak, because that is a cost per month within your mortgage that you have to pay. So again, your mortgage is principal, taxes, interest, and insurance. We do not have insurance in our mortgage insurance in ours going with NACA, so that's a plus. But we do have homeowners insurance, which is extremely necessary. It's not that expensive generally, but again, those are factors that go into your mortgage and your overall affordability.
And just a disclaimer, again, we're not professionals yet. This is literally just our experience that we're sharing with you. And so, of course, along with this and tips, you definitely want to do your own research as well. Again, this kind of was like a no-brainer for us just because we knew what we wanted to spend. We knew our max, like we know our bills. So we already knew pretty much what our budget was. So in order to make sure that we can, afford it and not be in over our heads, we did a shock savings, which basically between the two of us, what the mortgage would be, we can save that amount without being affected with our regular bills, which it really wasn't a problem.
And regular bills meaning your regular lifestyle. We like to travel, so we need to be able to pay our mortgage and travel and do whatever we want, whenever we want, just as we normally would. Like, that's key. Unless you want to make adjustments to your lifestyle and your expenses, which is obviously key to purchasing a home, because you don't always have to continue down the path that you were going, but know how you like to live, and you purchase your house based on your lifestyle that you like.
Right. We also knew that we really didn't want a complete fixer-upper. We really didn't want that. If it wasn't completely turnkey, that was okay, but as long as it was something that we can add our touch on. Again, this is our starter home, although it could be for our forever home, but this is our starter home. So a lot of the things that we did were cosmetic. So again, we made sure that's something that we would be able to afford as well. In addition to our furniture and all that stuff that, we would be planning to spend.
And something to think about is utilities. So your gas and electric is probably going to go up if you're buying a home that's larger than your apartment. Also, apartments are usually per person, not necessarily by usage. So that's something to think about as well. And then any type of home expenses that you would usually call your maintenance person for, you are responsible for. So if you get a leak, you have to pay for it. I don't know, if you get mice, I don't know, that's a common thing that I see with apartments. You get mice, you can't just say, hey, apartment, I have mice, can you help me? You need to call pest control and pay them whatever they cost. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really a really good point, because I hear a lot of people, they say, well, for the amount of rent I'm paying, I'll just go buy a house. Like, It's really not that easy. I mean, I think a lot of people just dive head in and you really don't think about the expenses. Again, thank God for the great realtor that we had. If something was to go up, if there was a leak, if you had bad pipes, like, I mean, just literally anything. Like, you literally have to make sure that you can budget for those things because, again, like Trinae said, it's not like you can say, hey, like, I'm calling maintenance, unless, you know, you're in a relationship with someone or you have that relationship where, you know, you do know people that can do that stuff, but most people don't. So that's something also to think about.
And you still need to pay people that help you.
Right, exactly.
So it's awkward. So finally, like one of our steps to prepare is a down payment. So standard back in the day, people would usually put about 20% down to buy a house. So let's just say on a $300,000 home, that's about $60,000. Seems like a lot. Not really if this is something that you've been planning for, or most people have assistance from their parents. That's usually one of the wedding gifts or something like that. So it's not that bad. But again, with NACA, your down payment is lower. And as I said, with FHA loans and VA loans as well, you can do about 3.5%. Also, depending where you're buying and who your realtor is, they can negotiate closing help, which ours did. Less money out of my pocket because things can go wrong. A little horror story, but it turned out great. We were supposed to wire the funds for our closing. I went to the bank. I did that. We got to the settlement table. They were like, oh, we don't have the money. Like, we're calling the bank. All this crazy stuff is happening. I had to run to the bank and get a cashier's check for the additional closing, like the total amount of the closing cost again. So great thing that I just had that money chilling, and I got the money that they wired incorrectly back later on. But just things like that you really need to think about.
Also, once you get to the point where you have your settlement date, that does not mean the money that you have saved, go start buying furniture. Because like she just said, that example that came up, like, imagine if we did not have that money saved, we would have been SOL at that table. So that does not give you the green light to start spending all this money. I would say you are safe when you have the keys in your hand and you're returning the key in your door. That's when.
There are like 1,000,001 different styles of homes, but the majors are single family, which is a standalone, but you got like detached, semi-detached, all those different things in there. Townhouse, regular, you're stuck with someone else, or a condo, which is usually like an apartment style, but they differ a lot these days with the new exurbs that are being created. So how do we choose our style of house?
So we knew we wanted, we didn't want a single family. Wait, that was just gonna be way too much work. And so we decided with a townhouse styled condo. So that's what we have. So it's condo by the association that you pay the condo fee, but it's townhouse style. So you have 3 levels. So in a lot of communities with parking, you'll have assigned parking, and it'll usually be like 1 vehicle, you get 1 assigned and then 1 visitor. We didn't want that. Like, we have visitors, we entertain, like that's something we knew we definitely didn't want. So that's another thing. We looked at several different townhome communities, and we literally rode around the communities, and you know, you can tell which ones had the assigned parking and not. So anyone that we had liked but it had the assigned parking, we scratched it off the list because that was something that was really a deal breaker for us.
We could have done like garage, which a few of them had garages, but I mean, it's nothing that like I'm partial to, so I didn't really care. I go shovel the snow for fun. Yeah, it's all cool with me.
Yeah, that's another thing. I knew cutting grass, all that hoopla, that was not what I wanted to do. So we didn't get one that had a garage, but we do have a parking lot, and it's open parking. I definitely wanted outdoor space because in our apartment we had a patio, and since we were on the first floor, I sat out there a couple times, but I wanted to be able to have cookouts and sit out there and relax, drink wine, decorate for Christmas with the lights. So having an outside space was really important to me. So we have an upstairs large balcony, and then we have a downstairs patio, which we don't use. Like, our trash goes there. So Yeah, but oh, Trey laughs at me for this, but I really don't order that much stuff. But because we were
There's a package every day.
no, there's not.
Every
So because we were moving and I knew I was gonna be ordering a lot of stuff, honestly, package stuff was something really important to me. Like areas that looked sketchy and places we visited, or this is bad, but if sometimes the neighbors looked sketchy, I was like, I think they would be package dealers. That's horrible. But honestly, that was something, and don't ever let anybody tell you what's important to you and what's not, because that was really important to me.
That's true.
That really was important. So our like front is facing like a
They'll see in
reserve.
the next video.
Yeah, but I just want to give a description. So we're facing a reserve. So, you know, it's pretty quiet. So that's something that was really, really important to me. One of the communities we visited, this is also so bad, but this is a preference. There were just a lot of like kids in the neighborhood, and we're like old people at heart. So we wanted peace and quiet, serene, like I don't want anybody on my doorbell playing ding dong ditch. Like that's just not, you know, things like that. And honestly, it goes back to the package stealing. Like that, did y'all see the video of K Michelle with the girl that was on there?
All right, leave
in the
that
ring?
girl alone.
Like
She's just trying to sell stuff.
that would be me on the ring if you ran up and tried. But again, because we have that downstairs patio, it's kind of secluded. So, you know, that made me feel a little more protected. And also where we're facing, safety was a number one thing also. So because there's like a front and a back, I wanted to make sure that if either one of us were coming home late, you know, that we won't get caught up. We would be okay. So that was another thing that we looked at.
Not gonna lie, safety wasn't really on my... I live in the moment, so if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
That's not me.
Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's dark here, or oh my gosh, you're not scared of the deer or foxes or whatever that's running around over here. No, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Don't live your life like that.
She didn't make me get ADT. We have it.
Games.
So if you,
I just feel like this is my investment, and I'm gonna protect it at all costs. And I want to be comfortable where I am. I don't want to purchase something. I don't even want to rent something that I'm not comfortable with. So yeah, don't let anybody tell you differently.
Agreed.
So yeah.
How did we choose the size of home that we wanted? The way I grew up with a lot of siblings, well, it's only 4 of us, but I had my own space, and so I didn't want to like move somewhere where I felt cramped or anything. And I've always, like, even in college, I got an apartment, I had my own. So I needed somewhere big enough for that, somewhere where she could have her office space to be creative, somewhere where I can go down and play my video games and do whatever I like. So our home is a decent size. Also, I'm kind of claustrophobic, so I don't want to be all cramped. Also, we need space for our family. My sisters come a lot. They stay when her family comes. Her mom comes and visits us. She needs a nice, comfy room to stay in, so we need that. Restrooms, you know, you just can never have enough. It's just 2 of us, but hey, you need space. And then we entertain a lot. Like, if you follow us on social media, there's always some kind of little party or something here. So we need space for people to come and chill and relax. So yeah. And then in the future, this isn't our forever home, which is what we thought about when purchasing. It needed to work for us now, and then also for renting or selling in the future. So it needed to work for either a single person or a family, because this is a very nice area with nice schools. So we have something that if this is a growing family wanted to move in, they can rent or buy. We have no problems with that.
Yeah. So we also knew that we didn't really want a complete fixer-upper. It didn't really have to be turnkey, but just something that we can put our own little touch on, you know, a couple updates here and there. Most of our updates were really cosmetic, honestly. Just stuff that we wanted to do, you know, that we liked. So that's something that we'll show you guys in our home tour video. Also, with not wanting a fixer-upper, you don't want to get too much over your head. Again, that's additional money that if this really isn't going to be your forever home, you don't need to do. Or unless you're want to be an investor and then you're trying to buy something that you're flipping. But yeah, like I really, again, this is our starter home. Like we made it really nice to our liking, but you know, probably for our forever home, we probably just want something turnkey, something again that you can do cosmetic updates to. And also don't feel rushed. You can do stuff on your own time. Like even if you buy something that is not exactly how you want it, you know, it takes time. Okay, this is another really, really big tip. So one thing for sure, don't feel like you have to hit all of your wants. As I had learned during this process, there's really no such thing as
The perfect home.
the perfect home. There's no such thing as your what was I calling my list? Deal breakers, because those can change. Like again, I wanted something with a really, really large master suite and a huge closet, but our closet works for us. Our master bedroom works for us. We have that suite with the soaking tub of the shower. So those were things that we were looking for. You know, you can compromise a little bit with the space in that manner, because you'll find as you're looking at different homes and your budget and what you thought you wanted can change.
Don't actually want, or
right.
It just doesn't work for you, or what you thought you needed. You're like, oh no, I need this, not really that. So you work with that, and then just think, you have a budget. Even if your budget is through the roof, your realtor can only find what's in your budget. So be realistic.
Right.
Don't say, oh, my realtor's not doing what they need to do, I'm going to go get another realtor, because the next one should tell you the same thing, unless
they're a good one.
They let you get in over your head.
Yeah.
And that's just not cool. So be realistic, know what you want and what you need, but also be open to compromise, because you'll just have to think, like, if this is somewhere I'm going to be for a while, which for us is like max 5 years to be here. Like, what do I need? What do I want? What will make it comfortable? What will make it enjoyable? Can I grow into this? Will it serve my needs? Like, space isn't always what people want. Sometimes people want accessibility, or they just want ease of no stairs. Like, just think about all those things throughout your process. Don't just come in with a one-track mind and think that's it, because then it won't be so fun. Like, and it was a really fun process. So I can't wait to buy again.
Yeah. So advice that we do have, so mine is being patient, especially if you're deciding to go through NACA, you're gonna need patience. Definitely patience. Also, again, ties back into the compromise. You have to be patient, and like a lot of homes that we saw that we liked were going fast. So again, depending on the market that you're buying in, don't beat yourself up, don't get down, and don't settle just because the one, you know, the home that you liked is gone. So now it's like, here's this one, let me settle. No, again, this is an investment. You're spending money. Patience is a virtue. Sometimes it might not be your time at that exact time. So, you know, just be patient and, you know, have faith. And just, again, a good realtor really, really plays a really, you know, major part in the decision, in helping you, and also have a good support system, especially if this is something you're doing alone. You know, the decision at the end of the day is yours. So don't listen to anybody else. Do what you want to do, but let it be reasonable and realistic.
And my piece of advice is know why you're buying. Again, this is a starter home for us, so it just needs to make sense for selling in the future or renting in the future. Yeah, just know why you're buying. Don't just buy because you see everyone else is buying. Don't just buy because you're about to be 30 and you're like, oh, this is a milestone that I should have hit. Let me go get a house. Like, it's not that serious. You could rent for the rest of your life. Who cares? That's not a way that you want to build wealth. It's just not a way that you want to build wealth. Y'all know, I'm big on do you for you, be you for you.
Do you, boo?
Forget the crowd. Forget Mrs. Jones. Do you.
Not Mrs. Jones. She said don't keep up with the Joneses.
Don't.
Please. One thing you don't want to be is house poor, okay? You still want to have an abundance of money left over. So if you are trying to buy a house and you realize that this is taking up majority of your income, which housing is always going to be the most expensive part of, you know, whatever you're spending, don't be house poor. Like, that's not cute, boo.
Rule of thumb from back in the day, and a lot of credit advisors still say this, 30% max. And I really say max.
Yeah.
So Thank you for watching our video. It's kind of long, sorry about that, but we tried to hit all the questions that we received on all of our social media platforms. And if we missed something, please let us know. We can answer in the comments, or we can make a part 2 if you guys need it. So, as always, like, share, comment, or subscribe.
And we'll see you guys on our home tour.